you and Beyonce are really close. And there was something about how Keyshia Cole complained that you weren't giving her any songs because of your relationship with Beyonce and how she sort of said something about Beyonce. Any truth in that?
Of course.
So, here's where things take a serious turn. According to Keyshia Cole, there's more to Beyonce's rise to fame than most fans ever knew. Allegedly, Keyshia claimed that Matthew Knowles, Beyonce's own father, may have been pulling strings behind the scenes in some questionable ways. Whispers in the industry say he was offering access to Beyonce to certain high-level executives in exchange for career opportunities. And this might not just be rumor, it's supposedly how she ended up with Jay-Z, back when she was just 18 and he was already pushing 30. Now, people are saying their marriage was less about love and more like a carefully calculated business move, one that spiraled way beyond anyone's expectations. But here's the twist. Beyonce thought Jay-Z would elevate her differently, more respectfully, not the way her father allegedly did. But if the rumors are true, Jay may have continued the same pattern. Some say he didn't just introduce her to substances to keep her under control, he also brought her around certain powerful figures, including Diddy, in ways that feel eerily similar to what Matthew was accused of. Now, Keyshia's always had a complicated history with Beyonce, but if these claims are accurate, this goes way beyond personal shade. This is serious, and people online are eating it up.
She was hating on the queen, Beyonce.
I was not hating on Beyonce.
It kind of was hate.
No, it was not directed at all as hate.
When the Bow Down record came out,
and
you
I love Beyonce.
And you was like, first it was all let's have camaraderie as women. Now it's
Well,
Bow
the thing
Down.
is that I met, seen Beyonce a few times. She's always a very sweet girl. To me, that just wasn't her, you know what I mean? Her thing. But I don't know, dude said, she switched it up or something.
If somebody says, I love you, but I hate you, that's not homage.
Keyshia first went public with her feelings back in 2013, right after Beyonce released the fiery track Bow Down. That song had the entire R&B scene buzzing. In the lyrics, Beyonce called out other female artists, basically telling them she was the queen and they needed to fall in line. Many fans, and even other celebs, weren't having it. People thought she was throwing subtle shade at Rihanna, and honestly, Rihanna seemed to feel the same because she clapped back almost instantly with some not-so-subtle digs of her own. Even Beyonce's own fans, the Bayhive, who usually ride hard for her no matter what, started calling her out. And that's when you know it got real. They felt she had flipped the script, going from girls run the world to suddenly calling those same women the B-word and telling them to bow down. It was a huge shift in tone, and many didn't like it one bit.
Bow down B over and over from the woman who preaches empowering women is a bit unsettling to some.
I just feel like it's kind of, it's hard to swallow. Just very hard to swallow, having seen her in a different light.
I don't like it. I don't think it's her. I don't think it goes to what she represents.
I love Beyonce, but I honestly think that Jay-Z's putting thoughts in her head.
You're on a Pepsi can, for goodness sakes, to tell B words to bow down, and then you're saying girls run the world.
Now, instead of just admitting she may have crossed the line with bow down and moving on, Beyonce doubled down. Rather than taking the L for what many saw as a direct shot at Rihanna and other women in the industry, she got defensive. She didn't offer an apology. In fact, she gave an interesting explanation. Beyonce claimed that one day she walked into the studio with a voice in her head telling her to humble the girls. So she channeled that energy into the booth, and what came out was Bow Down.
The reason I put out Bow Down is because I woke up, I went into the studio, I had a chant in my head. It was aggressive, it was angry. It wasn't the Beyonce that wakes up every morning. It was the Beyonce that was angry. It was the Beyonce that felt the need to defend herself. And if this song never comes out, okay, I said it. And I listened to it after I finished, and I said, this is hot. I'm gonna put it out. I'm not gonna sell it. I'm gonna just put it out. People like it, great. They don't. And I won't do it every day because that's not who I am, but I feel strong. And anyone that says, oh, that is disrespectful, just imagine a person that hates you. Imagine a person that doesn't believe in you, and look in the mirror and say, bow down, bitch. And I guarantee you feel gangster. So listen to that song from that point of view, again, if you didn't like it before.
She later said the song wasn't meant to offend anyone, but actions speak louder than words, and Queen Bey has unapologetically performed that track many times since, including during her Beychella performance. No edits, no disclaimers, just full diva energy. So if people were hoping she'd walk it back or offer a more thoughtful take, yeah, that didn't happen. And that's exactly what's kept Keyshia Cole pressed for years. In her eyes, Beyoncé not only fired shots, but refused to take any accountability afterward. Like the song wasn't aimed at anyone specific, even though the whole industry knew otherwise. To Keyshia, that wasn't just a diss, that was a message. Loud and clear. Do you remember what Beyoncé said about what came in her mind telling her to record this song?
The reason I put out Bow Down is because I woke up, I went into the studio, I had a chant in my head. It was aggressive, it was angry. It wasn't the Beyoncé that wakes up every morning.
Beyoncé's bold explanation about why she dropped Bow Down didn't exactly calm the storm. It poured gasoline on it. Instead of owning the backlash, she claimed a voice in her head told her to humble the girls and that the whole track came from a place of raw emotion. Well, Rihanna and Keyshia Cole weren't buying it, and they made sure the world knew. Rihanna, never one to keep quiet during her clapback era, hit Instagram with a mic drop post. She shared an article that crowned her the Queen of Pop in the UK, casually captioned it, "I only know how to be number one. I could use a challenge. How'd that feel down there on your knees?" Yeah, that part. Definitely aimed straight at Beyoncé. No GPS needed. Fans of Rihanna, aka the Navy, immediately clocked the shade. But it didn't stop there. Keyshia Cole came in swinging, and this time, she didn't hold back. On Twitter, she went on a mini rant that made Rihanna's post look like a polite disagreement. She wrote, "First it's women need to stick together, now it's bow down. Can't stand when people act all self-righteous when it fits their image, but stay shady behind the scenes." She basically called Beyoncé out for being fake and playing the empowerment card only when it's convenient. Then, out of nowhere, Brandy stepped in. And though she kept it classy, she didn't sugarcoat her words either. While she said she still loved Beyoncé, she admitted she wasn't a fan of the song, and it just didn't sit right with her. It was messy, unfiltered, and the internet ate it up.
I know that you are a Beyoncé fan.
I am.
You're a Beyoncé fan, and she recently put out her new song, Bow Down. People are talking about it.
Opinion is opinion. I think art should be expressed the way it should.
Do you love the song?
I don't love the song, but I love Beyonce. I have to be honest, you know.
Now, you'd think after all these years, Keyshia Cole would have moved on, right? Nope. Word on the street says she's still holding a grudge, and it's gotten even messier. Apparently, Keyshia has been stirring the pot behind the scenes, dropping some jaw-dropping rumors that have people side-eyeing the entire industry. She's allegedly claiming that Beyoncé's father, Matthew Knowles, had a shady role in launching Bey's career, not just managing it, but servicing her to powerful execs in the business before Jay-Z even came into the picture. And guess who was reportedly one of those execs? Yep, Jay-Z himself. But Keyshia didn't stop there. According to the tea she's allegedly spilling, Jay wasn't any better after the fact. Once they were together, he supposedly continued that same behavior, allegedly arranging high-profile connections for Bey, just like Matthew supposedly did. Now, here's where things get extra spicy. This theory got even more traction after rapper DaBaby shared a very curious story. He claimed he once attended a private gathering at Diddy's house, and guess who else was there? Beyoncé and Jay-Z. Not just mingling at some casual party, but there for what he called a selective inner circle meeting. The vibe, very exclusive, very secretive, and very suspicious if you connect the dots. It's the kind of story that makes you wonder what really went down in those early career-building days, and how many powerful hands were involved in shaping Beyoncé's rise.
Beyonce, I was at a party at Diddy crib in LA. This was the beginning of 2020. You know what I mean? Diddy had put everybody else out the crib, like the influx of people he had put them out. But he had took a liking to me in particular around the time, man. It was really, you know what I mean, like putting his arm around me.
Right.
So he had put majority of the people out, but he allowed me to stay in there. Me and maybe about 15 others. You know,
right.
Jay-Z and Beyonce being 2 of the other 15 people in the room. So that'll just put it into perspective of the type of company I was in at the moment, And she came over and introduced herself to me like as if she had to. Beyonce, cut it out. But I'm a big fan of your work, you know what I'm saying? Whoop de whoop, and that was just dope. That was dope as hell to me, man. That was dope.
Now, if y'all have been keeping up with the deeper layers of this story, you'll remember some dark rumors that have been swirling for years, and they paint a chilling picture. Allegedly, there were claims that Jay-Z kept Beyoncé hooked on certain substances, including what folks on the internet have dubbed nose candy. And this wasn't just casual gossip. It came from someone who was very close to the situation. Uncle Ron, Beyoncé's former bodyguard, dropped a bombshell when he claimed he personally witnessed Jay giving her hard drugs. Not just for partying or pressure, but allegedly to manipulate and control her.
But I'll say, man, yeah, Beyonce's on books. She's been on them for a long time, and you keep her that way.
According to him, this wasn't about fun. It was about keeping Beyoncé mentally dependent and emotionally contained, creating a version of her that could be shaped and steered. If that's even half true, it raises serious questions about the dynamic between the two, especially considering how young Bey was when she got involved with Jay, and how much of her career was built around their power couple image. And it makes people wonder, was this about love, or was it always about control? And just when you think the story couldn't get more unsettling, it does. There have long been whispers that Jay-Z pursued Beyoncé when she was just 18, fresh into adulthood, while he was already pushing 30. The power imbalance alone was enough to make people raise their eyebrows. But it didn't stop there. This is what Keyshia Cole was alluding to when she said Beyoncé was essentially handed over to Jay as part of a calculated move. Not just romantic, but professional. And like clockwork, as soon as she got with Jay, Beyoncé's career skyrocketed. She started receiving massive support from industry gatekeepers, the kind of backing that wasn't extended to her Destiny's Child bandmates, Kelly or Michelle. Now, let's not forget, Beyoncé didn't have a typical childhood. She was raised in the industry, with music as her full-time job practically from day one. She didn't get to explore, make mistakes, or date around. Her only known boyfriend before Jay was from her high school days. That's it. So when Jay came into the picture, it wasn't just love, it was structure, it was strategy, and it quickly became everything. Her career, her brand, her image, all orbiting around this one man. And that might explain why, even after Jay-Z's infamous cheating scandals, Beyoncé stayed. Not necessarily because of forgiveness, but because he's the only man she's ever truly known. He's been the constant in her life since her teenage years. Their family, her legacy, it's all been built with him at the center. So, the question becomes, was it ever really a choice for her? Or was Beyoncé simply playing a role in a larger script, one written long before she had a chance to write her own?
I feel like she never got to experience life with the different types of people, and the fact that he was so old, low-key, I feel like the only way she expresses herself is through her music. And like I don't know them, obviously, but I'm just saying, just like by seeing the age gap and what happens between that age gap, she never got to live.
And just when it seemed like the drama surrounding Beyoncé couldn't get any deeper, a shocking new claim surfaced, one that has the entire industry whispering behind closed doors. According to a recent blind item, Beyoncé is allegedly planning a secret $500 million escape from the spotlight. The source says she's done, completely burned out from the life that made her a legend. The endless tours, the carefully crafted image, the pressure to be perfect. She wants out. But here's the catch. Her team, they won't let her go. Why? Because she's not just an artist to them. She's a money machine, a brand, a cash cow they've been milking for years. The source even suggested that Bey is being forced to perform against her will, kept going with no real freedom, no real voice in the decisions made for her. And if you're wondering why her bodyguard was seen chasing after her at that big award show not too long ago, well, now it makes more sense. Apparently, Beyoncé has threatened to flee the country more than once, to walk away from the fame, the control, and the people who treat her more like a product than a person. Insiders claim she's struggling with depression and at times has felt mentally overwhelmed. But the real fear among her handlers isn't just about her well-being. It's that they'll lose control and lose the fortune that Beyoncé brings in. She's reportedly on the verge of rebelling, tired of her mother's control, and exhausted by Jay-Z's influence over her every move. Now, as for Keyshia Cole's allegations, whether she really said that Jay was servicing Beyoncé out to powerful industry execs remains unclear. But one thing's certain, the streets are talking and they're not holding back. Many people believe Beyoncé knows way more than she's letting on, about the industry, about her rise, and about the people who helped build her empire for a price. As usual, nothing has been officially confirmed, but that hasn't stopped fans from sounding off. One person wrote, "I'm so tired of Beyoncé being treated like she invented women in music. Keyshia's voice is raw and real. Give credit where it's due." Another chimed in, "I didn't even know Keyshia and Beyoncé had beef. I thought Keyshia just stopped making hits. I had no idea she might have been blackballed." And others were surprised to learn her name is actually Keyshia, not Keyshia. But now it's your turn. What do you think? Is Beyoncé really being silenced and controlled behind the scenes? Did Keyshia Cole get blackballed for speaking out? And are these rumors just tabloid noise, or is there a darker truth hiding beneath the surface? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to click right here to watch another video that dives even deeper into this wild Hollywood mess. You won't want to miss it.